Hello everyone, dear fans of Barcelona. This is a passionate fan like you, ready to share with you the latest news about our beloved club. Don't forget to support the channel by liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment at the end of the video. Today, we have 3 big pieces of news to share with you. So, let's get started without further delay. The contract extension of Jules Koundé with FC Barcelona is news worth celebrating as a strategic victory for the sports management and as a demonstration of the commitment of the French player. At just 26 years old, the defender has decided to extend his contract with the club until 2030, thus sealing his future in a project that seems increasingly solid under the new sports and technical management. Although official details are still lacking, a sense of satisfaction reigns within the club after the completion of one of the smartest moves in recent times. Ensuring the continuity of a key player, versatile and at the peak of his footballing maturity, is a true success. And it's not without reason. Koundé has been one of the silent but indispensable pillars of the team. His ability to adapt to the right-back position, despite his training and brilliance as a central defender, reflects not only his versatility but also his professionalism and understanding of the collective game. In a season that demanded commitment and sacrifice, the Parisian did not shy away from the challenge. He accepted it with humility, executed it with efficiency, and made it one of his best campaigns since wearing the Blaugrana jersey. It is true that his previous contract tied him to the club until June 2027, but the management understood that his importance to the team deserved more than just an existing clause. The extension until 2030 not only prolongs his stay but also protects him from the interests of major European clubs who see him as a complete, modern defender with even greater potential to exploit. The salary increase envisaged in this agreement reflects the place he occupies in the team's structure: an undisputed starter, an example in the locker room, and a fundamental tactical piece. In this regard, the silent and effective work of Deco must be greatly appreciated. The sports director has maneuvered with intelligence and firmness to conclude an agreement that was not simple, especially considering that Koundé's entourage was considering other attractive options. However, the player has always made it known his desire to continue at Barcelona, not only because he feels it is his place but also because he understands that here he can write a relevant story, become a symbol, and grow even more as a player and leader. In this scenario, one might wonder, how can one not be satisfied with this extension? Koundé represents much more than a name on the team sheet. He is a player who guarantees defensive solidity, who has learned to project himself intelligently in attack, and who has developed a game-reading ability that is rarely seen in someone who has had to modify his natural position. His most recent season has been, in many ways, the confirmation of everything expected of him. He played 53 matches, scored 4 goals, provided 8 assists, and, above all, showed consistency, composure, and a silent leadership attitude that counts as much on the field as off it. Therefore, this extension should not be seen as a mere administrative formality. It is a firm commitment to a player who embodies the values the club needs most today: commitment, professionalism, humility, and a thirst for glory. It is also a message to the rest of the team and to the European football environment that Barcelona is ready to retain its best pieces, build with solidity, and look to the future without fears or complexes. And of course, it is a source of joy for the fans. The supporters have seen Koundé evolve, earn a place in the hearts of the fans, and step up in important moments. There is no more gratifying spectacle than seeing a player grow within the club, take ownership of the crest, and commit to a collective cause. Koundé's extension is an extension of the competitive soul of the team, an extension of hopes and certainties. It remains to be seen when the official announcement will be made. Everything indicates that it could happen during the Asian pre-season tour, which would only strengthen the morale of the group and send a clear signal to the rivals. Barcelona is building a serious project, with solid foundations and names ready to give their all. And Jules Koundé is one of them. It is also important to note that this extension comes at a strategic moment for the sports management, with increasingly aggressive markets and Premier League clubs making million-dollar offers for defenders with similar profiles. Managing to secure Koundé in advance and without major upheavals demonstrates a foresight capacity that deserves applause. The management of human resources in modern football is as crucial as tactical management. And Barcelona seems to have learned from past experiences to act intelligently in the present. The club could not afford to lose a player like him and, fortunately, it will not. Koundé's commitment to the project is also a vote of confidence in the direction the team is taking. At a time when many players prioritize million-dollar contracts over footballing development, his decision to stay at Barcelona until 2030 is also a declaration of principles, a bet on the sporting rather than the economic. Now, beyond the contractual aspect, an inevitable question arises. What do you think of this extension? Don't you think that securing Koundé strengthens the management at this precise moment? Don't you feel that this type of move reinforces the club's identity and demonstrates that the future is being built with a cool head but a warm heart? As supporters of the club, we can only celebrate this extension. Jules Koundé is the present and the future. He is one of those players who, over time, become references for what they do on the field, but also for what they represent off it. In a team that needs stability, silent leadership, and technical quality, the Frenchman brings all that and more. His permanence is not just good news, it is a fulfilled need, a competitive guarantee, and an unequivocal signal that Barcelona is heading in the right direction. The path to titles is built with decisions like this one, not with empty promises, but with concrete actions. Renewing Koundé is an act that deserves applause. The management has taken a step in the right direction, the player has shown his commitment, and now the fans can look to the future with a little more tranquility. Sometimes, a signed contract says more than 1,000 speeches, and this one, without a doubt, is an example. The second piece of news concerns an important decision for our beloved club. Xavi Simons and Barcelona cross paths again in the orbit of rumors and illusions. Although the young Dutch playmaker will not continue at RB Leipzig after a remarkable season in the Bundesliga, the possibility of his return to the club where he grew up as a footballer and as a person is once again very present in the conversations of the most dreamy supporters. Simons, trained at LAMINE, represents not only talent and projection but also that kind of emotional bond that the club supporters cherish so much. However, today, this long-awaited return seems more like a wish than a concrete possibility. The economic difficulties of the Catalan club, still conditioned by strict salary rules and a financial situation that forces cautious decisions, complicate any costly operation. Even more so if the starting price is high and English clubs are ready to offer much higher sums. Yet, within the club, hope is not entirely lost. Every move related to the young Dutchman is analyzed with attention, and his progress is closely monitored. His growth in the Bundesliga has not gone unnoticed. He has been one of the most followed talents for his dribbling ability, game vision, decisive passing, and that on-field personality uncommon in such young footballers. Although RB Leipzig has already begun exploring his departure and English clubs have an economic advantage, the door of the Catalan club is not closed. In football, those who know the secrets of the market understand that decisions are not always dictated by money and that a player's will can change the course of things when least expected. Simons has not yet publicly spoken about his future, but those who know him well assure that he has not forgotten his roots or the jersey in which he took his first steps as an elite footballer. One might then wonder, should Barcelona make an effort to recover one of the greatest promises from its academy in the last decade? From a Kuhl perspective, the answer is a resounding yes. It's not just about romanticism or saving someone who was part of the club in their youth. It's a matter of sporting vision. Xavi Simons would fit perfectly into the team's DNA. He brings creativity, overflow, technical quality, commitment, and versatility. His youth and constant evolution make him an asset for the future with real possibilities of becoming a key piece in a medium-term project. It is true that the contractual and economic situation poses challenges. We cannot deny it. But often, great transfers are not concluded simply with money but with will, strategic negotiation, and a very attractive sporting project. If Xavi Simons sees in the Catalan club a clear opportunity for a starting role, protagonism, and growth without losing his roots, the club can recover a special player without having to compete every day with the million-dollar offers of the Premier League. It is relevant that the first-team coach has given the green light for the sports management to keep the option of his transfer active. His eye for recognizing young talent is precise, and he is convinced that Simons would fit perfectly into his scheme, being a real solution in the medium and long term. The sports management, led by the one overseeing future planning, has also studied how a viable operation could materialize. Although today the balance tips towards England, relaunching negotiations is not ruled out if market conditions change, if the player shows a sincere interest in returning, or if a creative formula can be designed. Loan with an option to buy, payment in installments, performance variables, or buyback. In an environment as changing as the current one, nothing should ever be considered definitive. If there is the slightest possibility, it must be pursued. Xavi Simons is not just any footballer. He is pure talent, a cool past, and a bright future. Perhaps one of those decisions that, if not made in time, are regretted for years. The supporters find themselves at a moment of deep reflection. The heart tightens thinking about this young man who grew up on the club's fields, who shared training sessions, values, dreams, and experiences at La Masia. Many see him as a symbol of what could have been or what can still be. At a time when the club must rebuild its identity with firmness, recovering one of its own would be a powerful gesture, a clear message. We still believe in the academy, in history, and in those trajectories that cross paths again to write new chapters. Of course, it's not easy. It requires strategic vision, courage, and decisive commitment, but the reward, if it materializes, can be immense. The supporters want to be re-enthused, to see on the field footballers who feel the colors from within, who understand the philosophy of the game without needing long adaptation. Xavi Simons, for all he represents, could be that name that reactivates the connection between the past and the future, between what we were and what we aspire to be again. And at this stage, the question is inevitable. What do the Kules think? Is it worth betting on the return of Xavi Simons? We dream again of his return, of that talent born in our home and who is today ready to make history. Are you ready to believe that it is still possible and to demand that the management does not let this unique opportunity slip away? It's not just a desirable transfer. It can be a sign that the club continues to believe in its essence and the roots that made it great. FC Barcelona continues to demonstrate that its vision for the future is as ambitious as it is necessary. Amid a restructuring aimed at consolidating a new sports project, the management led by Joan Laporta is not only focused on strengthening the present, but also paying special attention to securing the talents of tomorrow. And it is precisely in this context that a name has emerged strongly, resonating in the halls of the Ciutat Esportiva. Abde Wazan, the young 16-year-old Moroccan footballer currently at PSV Eindhoven, has become a true gem of Dutch football. According to information circulating insistently in recent hours, his transfer to the Blaugrana club is not to be ruled out. In fact, it is increasingly close to becoming a reality. Joan Laporta, president of FC Barcelona, has been informed in detail about the potential of this young talent. And although no official offer has yet been made, the possibility that the club will move forward on this matter in the coming days is very high. Abde Wazan is not a name that has come out of nowhere. The young man has been shining for some time in PSV's youth teams, where his audacity, tactical intelligence, and, above all, his ability to unbalance in the final meters have made him the most coveted footballer of his generation in the Netherlands. At just 16 years old, he is already considered by experts to be a player with superstar potential. His football maturity is uncommon for his age, and his leadership ability on the field has surprised even the most skeptical. The operation that the Catalan club has in hand could be concluded for an amount close to 10 million euros, a sum that PSV would be willing to accept if certain conditions related to performance variables and a percentage on a future sale are met. The sporting director of FC Barcelona, Deco, has been one of the main promoters of this possible transfer. The former Portuguese player knows the Dutch market well and has closely followed Wazan's progress over the past year. According to internal sources, Deco presented a detailed report to President Laporta in which he recommends accelerating the process to not miss the opportunity to incorporate a player who, if all goes well, will be a protagonist of European football in the next decade. In this same report, Deco was categorical. If Barça does not act quickly, several European giants could overtake them. There is already talk of interest from English and German clubs that have also sent emissaries to closely follow Wazan. But Barça has an advantage. The young Moroccan is enthusiastic about the idea of wearing the Blaugrana colors. The player's entourage has hinted that FC Barcelona would be his dream destination and that he would be delighted to integrate into the La Masia training project, where he hopes to continue evolving as a footballer and as a person. Another point in favor of FC Barcelona is the approval of Hansi Flick. The German coach, who has been clear in his policy of betting on young talents with potential, has given the green light to the operation. Flick considers that players like Wazan are key in building a team that, in the near future, will not only compete but also mark an era. The possibility of incorporating a talent of this magnitude fits perfectly with his project vision: identity, youth, technique, and ambition. It is evident that the economic context of FC Barcelona does not allow for great excesses, but it has been demonstrated in other operations that when the management considers a strategic transfer is on the table, mechanisms are found to make it possible. And in this case, the investment is not only reasonable but fully justified by the player's margin for progression. Abde Wazan is not coming to solve the immediate problems of the first team, but but to be part of a structural process that the club considers fundamental to guarantee competitiveness in the medium and long term. The bet on young talents with a technical profile and a winning mentality is one of the premises that the current sports management has placed at the center of the project. Laporta, who has repeatedly reiterated that the future of the club lies in a combination of the academy, training, and strategic transfers, sees in Wazan a piece that fits into this puzzle. And it is not just a sporting matter, but also an important symbolic component. Signing one of the great promises of European football for an affordable sum and outmaneuvering other, economically more powerful clubs would be a strong message from the Catalan club. Youth is not an obstacle but an advantage if managed well. And in this sense, FC Barcelona has one of the best training structures in the world. Integrating Wazan into the dynamics of La Masia would allow him not only to gradually adapt to the club's style, but also to internalize the values and principles that have forged some of the greatest legends to have passed through the Camp Nou. It is a sensible, visionary, and coherent investment. An opportunity that should not be missed. What do you think, Barca supporters, of this possibility? Do you think it is wise to invest in a 16-year-old talent who is already shining at PSV? Do you consider that this type of transfer can make a difference in the near future? Opinions are divided, as is often the case when it comes to footballers who have not yet made the leap to the elite. But it is certain that more and more authoritative voices within the club coincide in saying that this move can be as important as it is necessary. In an increasingly competitive and voracious market, outpacing the economic giants of Europe is not just a matter of money but of vision and determination. FC Barcelona, by showing interest in Abde Wazan and seriously evaluating his incorporation, demonstrates that it has not lost an ounce of its instinct to identify and bet on talent with conviction. With Deco leading the way, with the support of Laporta and the tactical approval of Flick, everything indicates that the transfer could be concluded before the end of the summer. The coming days will be crucial to know if the club decides to take the definitive step and present an official offer. What is certain is that the enthusiasm to see a new promise wearing the Blaugrana colors is more alive than ever. Because if there is one thing that distinguishes Barca, it is this ability to dream, to believe in talent, and to build, from the ground up, the foundations of its greatness. And Abde Wazan could be a new cornerstone in this exciting process. What do you think, Barca supporters? Are you ready to get excited about this new talent? Do you see him as the future reference of our team? The ball, as always, is on the club's field, but this time, it is also in the hearts of all those who believe in a Barca that never stops looking forward. Leave us your opinion in the comments. Thank you very much, and see you next time.